Our friends, the very isle itself, everyone and everything. No, no, it avails us not to speculate. Urianger will send word if there are any developments. Until such time as he does, we must remain firmly focused on that which is within our power to change. With that in mind, I would speak on a different matter, one closer to home. It concerns etheric fluctuations, which we had previously attributed to good King Mughal XII. That the king is no more is a blessing for which we have you to thank. Yet, all is not well in the Twelveswood. Our latest readings reveal an ongoing etheric disturbance of considerable magnitude. They may even suggest the presence of a primal. Needless to say, the mere possibility warrants immediate investigation, and I would have you... well...
Cilia, I do not wish to interrupt, but we do have a problem, dear.
What matter of problem?
Oh, a band of refugees, hailing from Uldar this time, are come to Revenant's Toll, seeking asylum. It would seem they expect us to afford them the same treatment we gave the Domans. At present, they are in the 7th heaven, awaiting a formal response.
I see. Mayhap this was to be expected. I shall meet with them at once.
Cilia, you know full well we haven't the resources to accommodate many more people. Consider what will happen if you do this. Word will spread. More will follow.
And your opinion is duly noted, but I will hear their suit. Meteor, I will be grateful for your presence at this meeting. All right. I'm enjoying getting to know... So we got to see Flamine yesterday in patch 6.15, and I had no idea who she was until this week. So it's really fun that, like, I met her on Monday, and then she was in 6.15. I mean, briefly, but still. She's an old lady, man. She's an old lady. She's lived a hard life. She's lived, and the younger you guys keep describing her as, the older she gets. She's tired of hearing your mess. Cilia just ignoring her constantly just wears her out. Ugh. I do apologize for keeping you waiting. My name is Minfilia, and I lead the Scions of the Seventh Dawn.
12 be praised. It is you.
Yes.
We're ready and willing to work, same as the Domans. Just give us a task. We'll see it done.
Oh, pray calm yourselves. I do appreciate your enthusiasm, but I know naught of your situation.
Oh, beg your pardon, antecedent. I ain't so good with words. We've been living off the scraps of Uldar for years now, trying to piece together a life to replace the one that got took, and they say there's work, but there's not for an honest man. Not as wouldn't sully his soul sooner than his palms any road. The flames do what they can for us, of course, but it ain't near enough, and it's only getting worse. The calamity brought us to our knees. Those rich bastards in the city didn't help us up. They climbed on our backs. I don't pretend to be clever, but even I could see what's coming. I knew we had to run. The only question was to where. And then it came to me. Revenant's toll. I mean, you took in them foreigners, didn't you? You'd surely do the same for us.
I fear the situation is rather more complicated. While it is true that we accepted the Doman's petition for aid, that decision was the product of extraordinary circumstances. I do sympathize deeply with your plight, but please understand that it is not possible for an organization of our means to aid all who have been affected by the calamity, and so it is with great regret that I must deny your request.
But we've nowhere else to go! You're turning your back on us?
If I might have a word? Taru? Is aught amiss? Ill tidings in Uldar, my lady. Alphino has been wounded. What? How? Is it serious?
I cannot say for certain, but it might be. According to the Flames, refugees started a riot. They went wild, apparently, lashing out at any and everyone.
That can't be. Why would they? They must be provoked. The demonstration was meant to be peaceful.
Seven hells. Now the Blades have an excuse. They'll round us up and kill anyone who tries to resist. Oh, Antecedent, please. If you won't help us build a new life, at least help us keep the ones we got.
My lady? Well, we are not ones to stand idly by and watch innocents suffer. However, until we know more of the circumstances surrounding this riot, I'm not certain of what aid, if any, we can provide. If the authorities determine that the refugees attacked without provocation, then those responsible will have to answer for their actions.
How could you be so blind?
Meteor, find Alphino, and quickly. If he is in danger, or worse, I would have you, and none other, by his side. Thank you. Now, pray do not concern yourself with the matter we are discussing earlier. Ida and Papalima will see to it.
Alphino is being treated at the Hourglass. Hurry, Meteor.
What if it's just his pride? I mean, that would still be an enormous thing to wound. He could be immensely hurt if you hurt his pride, but what if he's not physically hurt? Good morning, Chris. I did hop on early to be productive. I wasn't, but I tried. We were wildly distracted this morning. We unlocked Azamel and were told by the guards not to do it. I was told that I may have to do it for Grand Company later, so we got distracted and went and unlocked the next several Grand Company ranks. And then ran Halatali. And then that's it. My Grand Company is ready to be ranked up again. So I made it to, I don't know, First Sergeant or something. He doesn't look hurt. He looks fine. He looks fine. Probably just his pride.
Come, you must have gathered by now that Tataru is given to exaggeration. As you can see, I am quite well. Uldar, on the other hand, is not. This riot was anything but an isolated incident. There is a restlessness in the air. Tensions long simmering are at last threatening to boil over. Uldar is a nation infamous for the great disparity between the wealthy and the poor. The majority of the populace accepts this state of affairs because they believe that every man bears responsibility for his own lot in life. To an Ul'dan, money is the foremost, and some would say the only measure of a man's worth. Small wonder that the wealthiest wield the greatest influence. So where do the refugees fit into this social hierarchy? What place is there for those who fled Alamigo and the destruction of the Calamity? Plainly, there is none. They have no wealth, no power, and no worth. To the Ul'dan way of thinking, they may as well not exist. Choosing to ignore their existence, however, is patently not an option. General Rauban and the Sultana understand this, which is why they ordered the Immortal Flames to provide the refugees aid and succor. Yet none would dispute that the expenses incurred by this policy grow by the day, with no end in sight. This has prompted more and more Ul'dans to question their obligation to aid these worthless wanderers. While more and more refugees have come to resent their treatment at the hands of the sneering citizenry. The manner of Lord Lolorito's refusal to grant the Dolmens asylum bespoke a disdain for all refugees, an attitude shared by the rest of the monetarists. And you may be sure they make no effort to conceal their opinions. It was only a matter of time before the refugees united in protest, nor is it any surprise that some among them would ultimately resort to violence. That the Immortal Flames should choose this of all occasions to engage in joint training exercises with the other Grand Companies. By the time they return, the situation may well have deteriorated beyond mending.
As I told you before, it was all but inevitable that an incident of this kind would eventually occur given the rising tensions within the Sultanate. Nevertheless, I have reason to believe that this particular riot may not have begun spontaneously. Have I piqued your curiosity? Good. Then you will accompany me to the Hall of Flames. I would hear what General Rauban has to say upon this matter.
Alright. I think his 2.0 voice suits him quite well. Have a good day, Chemistra. Desperate times. Oh. Hey, buddy. You don't have anything more important to do? You just standing out here? Alright. Maybe he's waiting on us.
Now is not a good time, my dear. My hands are full dealing with the refugees.
They don't look full. You just stood around.
Precisely the matter we wish to discuss, General.
Alpino, back on your feet already?
You may credit my swift recovery to your urgence. My memories of the riot are still somewhat muddled. I trust you managed to regain control of the situation?
Not entirely. We secured the city soon enough, but not before the unrest had spread throughout the surrounding territories. Pockets of resistance remain throughout Thanalan. We have sent what forces we can spare to root out the last of the belligerents, but progress is slow. They are damnably elusive.
I can well imagine. Given what the majority of refugees live outside the walls, it stands to reason that they would know the lay of the land. What I do not understand is how they came to be so well prepared. Before my little accident, I observed that several of the refugees were armed, and not with butcher knives or pitchforks, but martial weaponry. I need hardly add that such equipment is costly. None can deny that the tensions between the Ul'Dan citizenry and refugee population have increased since the Domans were turned away, but would that motivate a starving man to purchase arms in lieu of food? I think not. And what of those who have not even a single guild to spend? Who could not survive without the aid provided by the immortal flames? Surely they would sooner sell a weapon than bring it to bear against their benefactors.
Come to point.
Very well. My point, General, is that this powder keg of discontent was not set alight by chance. These events were deliberately set in motion, and
now order must be restored. That is my first duty. Until it is done, any investigation can wait. I don't have time to discuss this. My scouts will be returning soon.
the General is no fool. He keeps his own counsel, and with good cause. Were he to claim, without necessary proof, that these riots were investigated by outside forces, the monetarists would accuse him of attempting to shirk responsibility. After all, he and the Sultana have been the most outspoken proponents of refugees' aid. Regardless, they will face harsh criticism in the days ahead. Our allies may stumble upon the truth in time. But I have far more faith in your abilities, Meteor. Therefore, I propose we conduct our own investigation, independent of the authorities. To that end, I would have you make the inquiries in the settlements suspected of harboring belligerents. Commander Swift will know which they are. He may balk at a request for such information, but I've no doubt that you can persuade him with your silver tongue. I, meanwhile, shall seek answers in my own way, after which we can regroup and share our findings. While we do things my own way is mostly standing around. So, well then, shall we? Yeah, I've quested with you before. I go talk to people, you stand around, we complete a task, you take credit.
You look as though you have something to say, Meteor. Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, what you ask is no simple favor. Were such information to fall into the wrong hands, the lives of countless soldiers would be at risk. Even so, there is a wisdom in your words, however brief. An able individual may be better suited to this task than a regiment. Very well. The Brass Blades have reported suspicious activity in the vicinity of Lost Hope. It may be unrelated to recent events, but we doubt it. I suggest you begin by speaking to the Brass Blades posted there.
Cool. Let's do it to it. This is... Oh, good. I've been wondering, we haven't used this much. There's a camp in here and stuff. We haven't used it much. So I'm glad that we're going to get to. Alright. And what brings you here, adventurer? A search for refugees? Well, then you've come to the right place. Oh, you mean those refugees? Oh no, you won't find them here. Most of the people of Lost Hope have come to accept their situation, and are content to pass their days in peace and quiet. Outsiders have trouble understanding that. Like that merchant who passed through recently. Gregarious fellow, but awfully opinionated. Can't say I was sad to see him go.